I am still tearing through the lead attorney's cancer reveal video because it was a 4 hour stream. So, but good thing, luckily he has timestamps. So I've been jumping around a lot, and it's sad, it's funny, it's motivating. You feel bad for him, but there's a lot of interesting things about being diagnosed, what he's gone through. It's a lot, and the scary thing is he's only 47 years old. Like it's like his life was on an upswing. Like he was a 20-year attorney, and then he found YouTube and he became a very successful YouTuber, and life was on the upswing. And then he got hit with this. Now, one of the things that he did wrong, he talked about this, is that he never really went to the doctor because he always felt healthy. He said, he never really got sick. Um, he worked out, like he would lifted weights. He worked out. He ate healthy. He did everything basically what a doctor usually tells you. So, well, make sure you eat healthy and work out. Like he was already doing that, and he never got sick. And the only reason this thing started is that there was a pop in his ribs, and then it went away, and then his back locked up, and he was in bed for 3 days, and he figured he lifted his weights wrong, but then he went to the doctor and he went to urgent care, and then they didn't find anything, and then they said there's some blood in your urine, and we'll just check it out, see if everything's okay, and then more tests and more tests, and he had a biopsy, and now he has, as he said, he has holes in his bones. Like my mom passed away from breast cancer, but part of the things that also added to her demise was that the cancer has spread to her bones, and that's not good. Now in Lee's case, he has holes in his bones, but then he said it's not curable, which you don't want to hear, but he said he has at least 5 years and maybe more. But he was talking about, like, even now, he has like a catheter. Like, he's still wearing his suits, but he's talking about, underneath my suit, I have these catheters. When he takes showers, he have to wrap himself in plastic and things like that so it doesn't get wet. He loved taking hot showers, but he can't have the shower hit his head anymore. Like, I don't think he used to love taking saunas. He can't do saunas anymore. And he loved working out, but he can't lift weights anymore because he'll be afraid that he'll break a bone. He said, these are things that I never thought about. He even talked about, like, now he was in the beginning, he was showing like different clips of YouTubers who said they were diagnosed with cancer. And he said he had no idea that so many YouTubers were going through the same thing. Like, I went through the same thing last year. I had a relationship issue, and I had no idea that there was so many breakup coaches on YouTube. It's like, there's so many of them. Because I always watch like relationship videos and things like that. Like, over the years, like, those guys I watch all the time, but it's like, oh wow, like there's a whole crew of people I've never seen before, and their whole thing is about how to deal with a breakup. It's like, oh my God. But again, if you're not going through something like that, like a breakup, or going through something like cancer, like why would lead attorney look for cancer videos? He's not going through cancer. It's just crazy. And the one thing he also brought up the cost of healthcare. Like he said, he never really paid attention to healthcare before. And he just quickly realized that healthcare in our country is for profit. And it is. Like, I never understood when Obama was fighting for Obamacare, which later became the Affordable Care Act, how people were fighting against universal healthcare. And even back then, I was like, you guys realize that the cost of being in a hospital is horrendous. Where people, even back then, if we're going 14 years ago, were filing for bankruptcy because they couldn't afford all these hospital costs. But people say, oh no, we don't want universal health care. It's like, what are you talking about? So you rather go bankrupt than to go into the hospital, and a lot of stuff is covered. Now again, in Canada, in Europe, it's not perfect. There's issues with the universal health care. But if I ever went to Europe and I got sick, I feel good that if I went to a hospital in Europe and something happened, I wouldn't come home back to the States and I have like a $50,000 healthcare cost coming my way. Everything's covered for the most part when you get sick in Europe. Now it's different when Europeans come here. I'm sure there's been Europeans got universal healthcare and they got sick and came here, And then they got a bill. It's like, what's this for? I ain't never coming back here again. No way. So yeah, we got a serious, it's so crazy that we're so advanced as a country. But these healthcare costs are so out of control. And Lee was saying, like, I thought my biggest battle was trying to get healthy. He said, that's true. But one of the other battles is the stress of how to deal with these bills coming through. You're trying to fight cancer, and then you get a bill for like $20,000 or $10,000. CAT scan, radiology, shots, like all these things are coming in, and your insurance, because he has insurance, but but are the insurance going to cover this? Are they not going to cover this? And the way our health insurance is, some insurance covers things and some don't. Now he's in a okay position just because he was a successful lawyer, so he has those funds, and then he became even a bigger YouTuber, so he has those funds. But let's say he has insurance that doesn't cover a lot of this stuff. Then now he's eating through his savings, which most people do. He said he's glad that he's a YouTuber because he was that allowed him to go get his chemo treatments. But what if you got a job? Yeah, I never thought about this before. Like my mom, when she got sick, my dad was there, and she had to leave her job so she can go get her treatments. But what if my dad, as things are today, what if my mom was a single mom? And she was raised, and and at that time, me and my brother were like in our 20s. But what if she couldn't take time out from work? Or what if she had to quit her job? Or what if she kept her job, but she had to go get these chemo treatments? And women and men go through this all the time. When you have a job, you can't leave a job because financially you don't have that much money in the bank, but you're sick, so you got to get these treatments. So what do? Oh, it's so stressful. It's so stressful. Now, the only reason the one good thing that now the person the woman see up top is his co-host AV. The one good thing that Lee did was that he did take a physical last year, before this whole thing. So, because he never went to the doctor saying you should get a physical, he went to get a physical, and they didn't find anything. But now, for flash forward a year later, now they find these things inside of him. That's why I always feel like every 4 years when we have to renew our driver's license, we should get a full body scan at a hospital. Whatever hospital, doesn't matter. Every 4 years, everybody gets a full body scan to see if anything's wrong inside your body. Because he had no idea he had holes in his bones. How can you? Unless you get a biopsy. But if you get a full body scan, you might be able to say, oh, okay, we see something here. Maybe we can catch this early. But everybody doesn't have full body scans. I don't know why. I just don't know why. So if you've gone through something like this, how was it for you? Like Lee was talking about how he had to tell his mom that he had cancer, and she took it okay. But I think about my grandmother. Like I mentioned before, my mom passed away. My uncle passed away first, her brother, and then she passed away like a year later. And I think about my grandmother, and I never saw my grandmother cry. I never saw my grandmother, because my grandmother was tough. She was a tough broad, but I never see her cry. But you had to think that those are her first two borns. Like, and you never want to, as a parent, you never want to bury your children. And she lost two back to back. So I often wonder, like, how did she deal with that? Even though how tough she is, it had to hurt her. And even though Lee's mom says she's taking it pretty well, it has to hurt her too that her firstborn son is going through this, and she doesn't know how long she has with him. So if you haven't seen this video, please check it out. It's like I said, it's long, but it's timestamped so you can kind of jump around. But it's a really good video. Shout out to the nurses that works with him, because there's a couple of nurses that he was angry at, but then there's other nurses that was really kind to him. So shout out to nurses. I'm a big fan of nurses. I worried about my nursing friends during the pandemic because, some of them have their own health stuff, so I didn't want them to get sick as well. So shout out to nurses, the good nurses, the one with the great bedside manner, because we need y'all, and doctors too. So if you've gone through anything like this, if you feel comfortable, tell me your story. If you had a family member or friend who's gone through this and you were either the caretaker, because Lee has a caretaker to help him out, who helped you out if you were by yourself? If you didn't have that support, who helped you? And anybody's fighting cancer, because it's Breast Cancer Awareness. God bless you. I hope you get better. And for everybody else, make sure you get yourself checked out.